Okay, so you're very welcome to the Online Business Coffee Break, where we talk about all things business, mindset, strategy, and everything online, and how to expand your business online, and how to stay sane and healthy um, while we're going through what we're going through. And today, I'm very excited to have Carrie Budds. Yay!
Hi.
So, Carrie Budds is from, is it Quokka Wellness?
Yeah, Quokka.
Quokka Wellness. And Carrie is a digital health expert. Would that be the right way to say it?
Yeah, so workplace wellness, I suppose, specializing in digital wellness and resilience. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. So I have been wanting to speak to you for a long time, Carrie, so I'm so glad it's finally happening. So tell us, from compared to the talks that you used to the environment we now find ourselves in, how have you found, let's say, I suppose the need for your work is, like, I'd say, ramped up 10 times.
Yeah, it's interesting because what I used to do before for the last maybe year or so is kind of corporate speaking gigs. So you'd be in working environments, so actually in the business. Yesterday was the first time I actually did the workshop online. So it's kind of ironic that it's
Yes.
online. But it was something I was looking at doing eventually as well. It's just you want to structure it the right way, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so yesterday was our first one online. So I had my own ideas of what people are going through, but then a lot more came out of that as well of what people are struggling with really,
Yes.
with this whole news just in the last couple of weeks. So there's some things are really small. So like people having back-to-back meetings, like a Zoom meeting. And one thing that came up yesterday, I was like,
And
you know, you don't, yeah, you know, you don't have, no meeting needs to be an hour. You don't need to be going from an hour meeting to an hour meeting to an hour meeting. If you're scheduling a meeting, schedule it for 45 minutes. It gives you like start at 5 past the hour, finish at 10 to. These small things, you're like, just
just take
make
a
it work.
bio break.
Yeah, that's it. You need to like, um, and the other thing that was really interesting too, because obviously that workshop was for free, and I'm doing it next week as well. And you're doing these coffee mornings. We're doing a lot to share, but some people I think are feeling really overwhelmed by it as well. They're like, I should be doing all this stuff. There's so much free content out there now, and they're
Mm.
feeling under a lot of pressure. So I think what's probably going to happen in the next couple of weeks, and anyone I'm talking to, I'm like, okay, make a list of what you really, really want to do. And if that list is just one thing, and it's just like spending time with your family, unsubscribe to everything, turn it off just for a while,
Mm.
and like let just ground yourself for a little bit, and then you can reintroduce it. You know, you might think, oh, I wanted to do a course on psychology, or you know, whatever it is,
Yeah.
and now this seems to be offered everywhere. But just prioritize what you actually want. Those courses aren't going to go anywhere, and if you really, really want to do them, you'll pay for them at a point. Just because they're free, don't try and
I
jump on them.
know, and it's funny because on one of the coffee breaks, we had one of the guests there saying one day, I don't want the time to go by and I haven't made use of it.
Yeah,
And it was such a really valid, it was a valid thing to say, because I have to say I've been thinking it myself.
yeah,
And like say my kids now, they're continuing with their dance online, and they're doing the piano online. And then I had, let's say, the Spanish teacher contact, to do the Spanish. And I said, you know what? I said, I can't, we just can't, I don't want to be busy like I was on top of teaching, on top of
yeah.
working and doing everything else. So I just said, you know what? They're only 7 and 9. The Spanish can wait. I didn't learn a second language till I was a teenager. They can wait.
That's exactly it. Like, and I think that's all part of the resilience piece as well. Like I saw really a couple of weeks ago when this all broke, I saw a post from a girl that I know, and she said this is coming at a time when a lot of us are kind of already stretched. We're their last thread of maybe capacity and resilience that we have because of the bad weather, the
Yeah.
bad news, people being sick constantly, and like landing all this on top of it. Um, I think people just need to be easy on themselves. Say, okay, this isn't a time maybe to try all these things you always thought you didn't have time to. So you have the time now. Maybe you don't. But like you have the illusion of time, but you just have a
Yes.
totally different scenario. So I think that's important, and it doesn't mean that people can't do things or they won't have the opportunity to do them. But I just don't think people should feel under pressure to do them.
So be
And I think
selective is what you're saying. Be selective.
yeah, that's it. Exactly. So I think like the actual comparison on social media was something I didn't think was going to be an issue. And it came up again a couple of times in the resilience workshop yesterday, and I was like, okay, that's really
Marathon, how
interesting.
do you mean?
So people are saying, like, I feel like I'm not doing enough now with my time. Like, people are putting up pictures of the courses they're doing, or they're decorating in their house, or all the baking, and so it's not the comparisons are
Yes, I
different.
know what you're saying, actually. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I even felt a bit of pressure actually with how much homework were your kids doing? Were you being a good were you being a good teacher to your own kids?
Exactly, that's it. Like, and that's where I think, so you can't really control how people feel at the other end of the phone or the other end of your
Yeah.
laptop, but you can control what you're putting out there. So I think for
Mm,
us, the people who are kind of mindful of it, we don't need to share everything that we're doing on
mm.
social media. We can give positive messages and support, and this, I think, where technology will possibly come into its own as well, in what it was originally meant to be, which was meant to connect people and make community online, like what you've been doing for years, Martha. Like, it's going to come into its own, but I think the bad sides need to be kind of shaved off. So this idea that you need to kind of share what you're doing all the time,
Okay.
with your family or decorating, I think we can probably pull that back, or just pare that back a little bit.
Okay, so we have
Um,
one is be selective.
yes,
Two
yes, exactly.
two was comparitis.
Yeah, that's it.
And
And
so
three would
not
be,
to share so much and not to look so much, perhaps.
yeah, that's it, exactly. And like, yeah, that on social media point of view, definitely. It can facilitate so much, but it can put people under pressure too. And like I said, we can share things. I can share something, you can share something, and Mary or Granny can look at it, and that might make them feel bad. You can't control what will make people feel good or bad, but I think
Yeah.
we can control what we're like. Why are you? If you're sharing something online, why are you sharing it? So if you're sharing a picture of something like your kids' homework schedule, which I did actually, and it was almost, I shared it on Instagram, and I'm kind of going, maybe I didn't need to do that. It was almost a commitment to myself to say, okay, I've shared it now, I have to stick to it.
I
But
know.
if someone else was under pressure, if they have 3 kids, I've one child, so
Yeah,
I've a
I
two,
know. And
two
actually, I
habits.
was going to share my timetable only for the fact of, um, because Pink shared hers, right? I actually based my timetable on Pink. That's what I myself. Now, to be honest, the timetable has literally fallen away, and so I said to the kids, I said we need to sit down. So version 1 was a good attempt. Version 2 is more realistic now because we've had 2 weeks at it, and
Yeah,
so I suppose I was sharing it to help others, but I can see how, yeah, totally. If someone has 4 kids, they might just go, whatever.
yeah.
Um, yeah, and that's a really good point.
It's just to
Okay,
think about it, and there's other, there's ways you could share it. So if you were sharing it with a couple of friends who have 1 or 2 kids around the same age as yours, pop
yeah,
it in the WhatsApp, or it could be more valid in a WhatsApp rather than on an
yes.
Instagram.
So think about where you're sharing.
Yeah, exactly. Where the content just can be beneficial or useful. Because if you really want it to be useful, you'll pick the correct channel. Whereas some of us, me included, you just
Uh,
want it to look like, look how well I'm doing. Like, look how well I'm doing with all this stuff.
but I do like your point though that when you put it on Instagram, you're holding yourself accountable. I actually do get that. You know.
Yeah, well, that's like, I think it's just to think about that, be mindful about it. It's not to stop you sharing everything. Like, um, it's not to stop sharing everything, because it can be really useful. It really does connect us at this during this time. But I think it's just be mindful of it, and
Yeah.
yeah, just to think about how it could be. I don't want people to overthink how it could be interpreted.
No, I know.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. Because you, you don't want to
mindfulness.
overthink every single thing you
Yeah,
do, right? Because then
yeah,
that brings another pressure to what you're
exactly,
already doing.
exactly.
And tell me, because it's funny. It's interesting to say you were saying you're having that conversation, let's say, with people online doing this talk online, because I've had a couple of friends of mine saying, how are you coping? And like I was saying, well, life hasn't changed in that
Yeah.
much for me because I work from home anyway. John is my husband
Mm,
is self-employed. I suppose he's around more, which and we're lucky. He's actually got a job here in our own house that he's working on. So life hasn't changed that much for us, but for a lot of people, there's been a massive shift. And are people finding that hard, Carrie? What's the biggest challenge for them?
mm. Yeah, so you have, what has happened now is you have such a variety of situations, and
Mm,
they're all different. most of them are different to what people's situations were before. So the likes of you or I would have spent a lot of time at home, working from home as well.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, my family is around more often at the moment, and we're kind of cocooning as well because we live with my mother-in-law. She's
Yeah.
82, so just to be mindful of that. But so some people are working from home unexpectedly. Some people are working from home unexpectedly with a massive increase in their volume of work. Some people are the opposite. They have a massive decrease. Some people have been laid off. Some people are trying to work with a family of 3 or 4 around them. Some
Mm.
people are, which I think I've underestimated the amount of people that are working from home from their bedroom because they're in a house share situation.
Oh,
So
yeah.
there's just loads. So I think, I think there's no avoiding the chaotic first part, the first couple of
Mm.
weeks. But just I think what people need to think is that this isn't going to last forever, and you are going to become more kind of habitual about what you do, the times you get up, getting dressed. Like today, I'm just in a jumper. Like,
Yeah,
it's some days I just like.
I just have scarves are my online my online dress up.
Yeah.
I've got leggings and my pink fluffy slippers on.
Exactly. That's what I always think. Is this what Brian Dobson does? Like suit on top and like
Thanks. And to be honest, I've always it's funny actually because it's something I've always done. I've got my yoga pants on me.
yeah.
'Cause, like it's funny because I was saying to a friend of mine actually, I don't really buy that. I'm not a big fashion person anyway, right? But I don't really buy that much clothes because I don't have to go into an office, right?
Yeah.
And so when I do buy something, it's something I really want,
Yeah.
and but it's just interesting because people are going to find, even let's say, even that side of things, people are going to, kind of get into a different fashion sense, right? And I released a video, I think, at the start of this because I went through all those bad habits when I first started working from home, and when you get into, like, we're week 3 now, and it's like, get up, have your shower, set your working hours, and yeah, just I suppose people are getting used to show up in a whole new way, aren't they?
Well, that's it. And I think the thing to remember as well is this is remote working, but it's not the norm. This
Yeah.
isn't this isn't like working at home with your whole family and your kids around isn't the way remote work normally works.
No,
So
exactly.
this isn't normal for anybody, like even
Yes.
if you're a remote worker all the time.
And the thing is as well is that they may some people may get turned off because they may
Yeah.
think, I don't want to do this, but if the kids weren't there, if the environment was just you, and if you had a home office, then it could be, because I was actually looking up this morning the images from NASA on how the world pollution is
Oh yeah.
changing and the impact, and it just shows, do you know what, that how much of a positive everyone working from home can actually make on the environment.
Yeah.
So what would be your best tips, Carrie, for, let's say, people who are working from home, or how to manage the whole digital, like, because I knew I was going to interview you, so I did check my screen time increase, right? So for anyone who's watching this, I know on the iPhone you can go into the settings and search for screen time, and it'll show you the hours, your let me see now, screen time. Where is it? Screen time. I'm just going to check.
Mine has jumped massively actually, and I've Android. You can do the same on Android, but there's been a big jump. Now my daughter uses it too for like WhatsApp calls with her friends and that.
Yes, of course. And
But
see, that's the other thing as well. I don't know if you saw, there was a video from some Israeli woman. Did you see
yeah,
it? There's so many funny things going around. And she was screaming about, she's 4 kids, she's only 2 laptops, and all
yeah,
the
yeah,
classes are back to back. And
that's
to be
crazy.
honest, it was subtitled, but the energy of her, you could
Yeah.
feel she was exploding, right? So that's the other side of things. People don't have the technology to do what they want to do.
No, and they either don't have the devices or the number of devices, and then they have to learn something new, possibly under pressure. I had a woman yesterday who said they started using Teams, and her internet connection is poor anyway. They started using Microsoft Teams.
Yes.
So learning the new technology, being under pressure anyway, communication, the mode of communication on remotely is so different. Like you and I know each other, and you know we've met each other before. It's quite easy, but I
Yeah.
think people need to forget that if you don't know someone, interacting with them online and either in a meeting or one-to-one is kind of difficult and it's hard at the start.
Right.
And I think you need to consider as well that if you're working with a team, you need to give them the time just to get used to that weirdness.
Okay.
And it's just unusual, like it's just an unusual way. And if people don't know each other very well, I think, and this I know is I'm kind of jumping back and forth,
No,
but I
it's
think you
fine.
need
Yeah.
to give people time. You need to give people on your team, if you are a manager, you need to give them time to get to know each other one-to-one in some kind of unstructured chats. Say, okay, like, you know, every day there's 15 minutes and we'll have, you know, Mary and John will talk to each other, or I'll talk to Martha, and like Ronnie and Mary will talk to each other, whatever it is, just
Right.
unstructured, a coffee break time. So that, because you need to get to know each other. And different, you know, because we know that communication is so little of what you say. It's mostly about, well, you know, your the way you look and your expression and your
Mm.
hand gestures and all that stuff. If you're in a meeting and it's maybe just a dialing call, things can get misinterpreted. Things that people say can get misinterpreted. But if you know the
Right.
person,
Okay.
even a
Yeah.
little bit, you
Yeah.
can say, oh, okay, I know that that's the way they talk. They have that verbal way of speaking that sounds kind of harsh, but
Yeah.
it's not.
So misinterpretation. I'm just taking little notes here, and I'll post it
Yeah.
when we're done. And it's funny because I was saying one day, interpretation, if I can spell it. We were saying here one day when I first started off online. I remember one of my very first clients. She came on. She was stuck in a corner in a dark room. I could barely see her. So, you know, I was saying to people, say, who are starting to use online now, you know, you might have to send a protocol. You know, make sure you're at a table with a bright light. If there's a window behind you, draw the curtains because it
Yeah.
creates a shadow, which puts you in the darkness as well. So I suppose I've learned these things over the years, like yourself, but like that, you know, if you're doing a work meeting, jumping on, and to be honest, like what you just said, some people, they might be in their bed. You know,
Yeah.
make sure behind you is cleared, you know, in case you've any very personal items in your bedroom that shouldn't be at in the background of your team meeting, right? Yeah, so God, that's really, you know, I never even thought about people taking meetings from their bedroom, even though actually last week I had to, my expert interview was actually from my bedroom because the noise level down here was crazy. I just had to literally walk away.
Oh, and like I've seen people have offices just online, have offices in their like airing cupboard, and that's where they
Yeah,
go. And I
yeah.
think with Kelly, I think she had to self-isolate for a while. You know, the radio producer, she was in her like a
Shed.
kind of a cupboard or something.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
the pine behind her.
yeah.
Wow. So, what is the biggest feeling that you're getting from people, Carrie? Are they coping or digitally or?
Um, I think so. Like, there's definitely there's a cultural thing I think here where, and it started from the start, of how our government kind of managed the whole situation, and I think people got behind it quite quickly. So I think people feel like, you know, when you feel like your leadership is in charge, you kind of go,
Yes.
okay, I can worry a little less about that. So I think that people are coping, but I think their days are probably longer and more stressful. I was speaking to a woman yesterday in the digital resilience workshop, and she said by lunchtime she is wiped because the intensity of the communication, just because she's not used to it yet. You're in meetings, you're trying to focus, concentrate. And I know for an absolute 100% fact, because you've done this and I've done this
Mm,
because we work, you are multitasking while you're on a call. You're on a
yeah.
lot of calls you probably don't need to be on, but you don't really know yet because you're just trying to keep in touch with everything. So I
Yeah.
think people are wiped. Like I think they're wrecked from work. And the other side of it then is that they're probably anxious about the situation. Like people have said they're checking news more often. They're, you know, you've kind of, it
Mm,
depends on your situation, but a lot of people have got extra time. You're swiping and reading and you're
yes.
getting updates, but you're not giving yourself information that's probably serving you. So you could be on Worldometer checking the stats of how many people have died from coronavirus. Yeah, I've
I've been
checked it.
on that side.
Yeah, and I had to back away. So now I check the news. And it's taken me a while because I got into a habit that I'd broken for a long time, which was checking my phone in the morning. And I had broken it and I'm back on it now. So I have my order of like email, 3 different accounts, social
Mm,
media news. And I'm just having to roll that back because it's not, why do I need to know that first thing in the morning? You know
yeah.
what I mean? I just get up, even get up, brush teeth, have a drink of water, and come downstairs and then check. But don't sit up on your bed and check your phone first thing. Um, And I don't like to give like, do this and don't do that. Checking your phone first thing in the morning doesn't serve anybody.
No.
So I would say that's definitely one. We do tend, and you can have that false sense of control if you feel like you have all the information, but it can just increase your anxiety rather than alleviate it. Like, you're getting
Yeah.
all this information, you can't process it or do anything with it.
No,
Like, you're not
and I think there's only so much, like, I was the same, because my husband was like, he said, he didn't want to watch the news. And then I said, okay, I'm going to not watch the news. And the day I didn't watch it was, I missed the information about they were doing the 8 o'clock clap for the thing.
Oh yeah, we missed that
And
as well.
and I was raging, because I said that's something I would like to have partaken in, and I missed the bloody information of it. But at the same time, I suppose what I've tried to do is limit the news to once a day. Now, I have to say, I have broken that some days, but I find the more I'm backing away from it and creating my own bubble here, um, as long as we're all well and going by the guidelines, you can be so healthy in your own world, you know, and I mean, we can still contribute and support other people as well while we're doing that. So Carrie, so for people, like, this is not, I wish this was going to be a couple of weeks, but I have a feeling it's going to be a couple of months. It's a long road ahead. What are the tips that you would give to people moving forward?
So I would say one of the biggest things, and we touched on it earlier on, and I think you're right. Even if social distancing is lessened or the lockdown is lessened, I really do think children aren't going to go back to school to September. So no
It's
matter what kind of, yeah, so no matter what kind of normality happens, it's still going to be, it's just going to be different. It's not going to be a normal situation. So in terms of digital devices or applications and social media, I would
Mm,
say lean into the benefits. Like I mentioned at the start, it gets you closer. Like, I can't see my parents there in Cork, or my brother and sister, or my friends. I have, so this is an example. I have a friend living in London with a couple of months, and she moved there just after Christmas.
mm,
And we used to meet every Sunday evening, have one glass of wine, a group of us,
mm,
and go home. Then that was kind of our night out or whatever. But she left and went to London, and we would text and we have a group or whatever. But
mm.
we did kind of a virtual Sunday drinks here on Sunday
Lovely.
with her and her partner for an hour. Great chat, great catch up. But we could have done that like 2 months ago, and we didn't. So I
Yeah,
haven't video called her or anything. So I'm like going, okay, this is a really positive thing. We can really connect with the people we know and we
yeah,
want to connect with and hang out with. Like, there's a really positive part to that as well. And it really was as close to being, apart from hugs, like I think that we're all missing hugs.
yeah.
Um,
I remember the last hug I gave, actually.
yeah,
Like,
it's mad. But apart from that, it's lovely. Like, it's very easy to do and very comfortable. Like, and I think that's where we can say, okay, these are brilliant things that we can do. We are in a globalized society now. I think
yeah,
that's probably not going to change. We can definitely make regular contact with people who aren't living here and be really close to them. Not with everyone. Your contacts. You could have 400 Facebook friends.
I
You're not
know.
going to stay in touch with all
No,
of them.
you're
Like,
not going to have an online drinks night with all of them.
yeah, exactly. And there's probably maybe 10 or 12 that you really, really want to stay in touch with that aren't here, maybe, that aren't
Yes.
um, local. So I would say that leaning into it. I do the digital resilience workshop. I'm doing it again next week. What I do at the start is get people to say, okay, what are the 3 pros of my digital life, say, or my engagement or interactions with digital devices, and
Mm,
what are my 3 cons? So people's are different, and what I say is, because of that, you pick then one digital habit you want to change, and you change it by looking at leaning more into the pros from your list. So say,
yeah,
one example could be someone feels like they're checking their internet or their email compulsively.
yeah,
But one of their pros is that they're able to connect with family abroad. So you say, okay, maybe you need to have a structure on how you check your social media, that you maybe unfollow some accounts. Doesn't mean you to
yeah,
disconnect them completely, but you just stop seeing feeds from stuff you don't need to see. So it
yeah.
stops you being online so much. And you just follow the people you want to see, who you want to actually connect with. So you're leaning into that positive side of why you're using your digital device in the first place. That's just one example.
That's fantastic. That's really
Um,
good, because I think people they're not used to, like, I mean, we're all so used to, let's say, like goal workshops and mindset workshops, but managing our digital environment, managing our digital habits is something people aren't used to thinking about or even making plans about.
Well,
So
yeah, and I think I totally agree. And that's why in the workshop, the idea is that like you can give tips and there's some guidelines and advice that is useful, but people are interacting so differently. And now even I'm probably going to adjust some things in the workshop I did yesterday for next week, because just learning all the time
yes,
what we're actually struggling with. Everyone's scenario is totally different. So for some people, like they'd say, well, sure, I don't check news at all, but what I'm doing is I'm on email constantly and I'm sending massive amounts of email, which means you're going to receive massive amounts of email. They
yes,
might need to control their email patterns, how much they send. The less you send, the less you receive, rule of thumb. So it's kind of, so that could be someone else's one, but they need to. So in the workshop, the idea is that you work through one habit yourself. I'm not telling you what to do. I'll give
yes,
guidance or suggestions, but it's one you're working on. And at the end, you've got a list of actions that you need to take to implement that new habit. You have a commitment date that you've decided on, and any potential obstacles, you're just recognizing them and say, okay, that might be an issue now. It might be that things are changing so often that I am going to want to check the news. How can I
yeah.
think about that beforehand so that I can put things in place, like removing reminders or setting some times where I have my phone on.
Removing Netflix from the TV. I actually
Yeah,
thought
that's
about it.
exactly. To be honest, I've caught up with all of we got Disney Plus, and I've caught up with all of the Marvel, the Avengers and all them, which I only got into recently. And
Yeah,
that's what we do every evening. Myself and my
yeah.
husband watch one of those. But I love that.
I
Like, I
know,
absolutely
yeah.
love that. 'Cause it
That's
works
kind
too.
of, I know. And I was contemplating getting, the girls wanted to get Disney. And
Yeah,
I was about to sign up for it. And I said, hang on a second here, think about this. Do we want more TV or do we want more sit down, different, how are we going to use our time before I sign up to something else? Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? So
yeah.
it, I just kind of like, I suppose, push the pause button on how you're going to use your time. So Grania says, love that idea, Carrie. Getting to know people is so important. And I did this one thing. This, you might get a laugh out of this. We did. I did it with a couple of my friends there 2 weeks ago now, or last week. We did the drinks online. There was 5 of us, and so to be honest, I don't really drink that much anymore. I suppose I haven't really probably drank in maybe, I don't know, 6 to 10 months, because I have a real issue with wine. I get really bad sinus. I can't drink beer. So the only drink I can drink is vodka. So I had a bottle of vodka in the press from Christmas, right? And anyway, so I brought it out anyway. And the home measures, right?
Oh yeah,
So one of the things that I really became aware of was that, I suppose, I mean, I'm at that age with kids as well. I don't go out that much either, or choose not to really. And anyway, the next day I had a banging hangover.
yeah,
And I think, uh, digital drinking is a new one to maybe add to your list of,
yeah. That's a good point.
causing a problem. Because I was there the next day, and then the next day, four couples, we got online on Sunday night, and I had another drink, and I was there going, hang on a second, I went from not drinking to drinking a ton of
Yeah,
vodka in, well, it wasn't a ton, but it was a lot for me, to be
more
honest,
than what
right?
you used to. Yeah,
Yeah, like, and I actually broke out. I probably had maybe 6 to 8 drinks, right? And I hadn't drank in maybe 10 months or so. I broke out in a rash on my neck, from those couple of drinks, right? And I had to again sit back and go, hang on, this could become a habit, a real habit of drinking a lot more at home. You know,
yeah.
so digital drinking, hashtag digital drinking, right?
Yeah, that's a really valid point as well, because I think it's novelty now, but I have seen people that have said, "Oh, we'll have a cup of tea, a digital cup of tea instead."
Yeah,
So I think people are feeling it, and drinking at home is definitely a thing that's more common
yeah,
than.
and especially if you're doing spirits, the measures are very friendly, you
Yeah,
know.
that's it. And
Um,
actually, Drink Aware, just a thing, and I have a load of them upstairs because I brought it to a workshop I did before. They have measuring cups that actually show you what a measure is of each drink
oh
type.
yeah, sure. I used to work in a bar. I know well. I know
Yeah.
well. But I just had a very free hand. That's all. But yeah. So the other thing then that I was going to say to you was, I think you're raising so many points, and I think as well, probably for yourself, there's a lot of new content that you may not have had in your workshops before, because this is such a like you could never have forecast the environment you're
Yeah.
currently in, right? So I really love kind of, I think you're making us all think, Carrie, about, you know, being conscious of our habits, you know, what we can change and how we can use this time, you know. And I loved as well that you spun a positive on it. You know, how can we lean in, use the technology for, you know, not cut it off completely, not be like, okay, that's obviously we can't because we need it, right? But how can we use it more to our benefit rather than, I suppose, causing us pressure and anxiety?
That's it. And I think the digital detox concept is a bit flawed as well. Like, and you know this from your nutrition background too. Any kind of detox
Yeah.
is only as good as a retox. So if you're going to
Yeah.
cut something out, you're going to completely reintroduce it tenfold possibly afterwards.
Yes,
So,
yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah. That's a
uh,
really good point, actually. So
yeah,
let's not detox completely, but let's just create healthy digital habits.
yeah, exactly. That's it. Just healthy digital habits. Because again, the pressure now, we're seeing so much content saying like how to eat well at home, how to exercise at home. I think people feel bombarded. So you're not trying to remove it, or you're just trying to help it serve you. That's what it's there for all the time anyway. Like it was,
Yeah,
you shouldn't be a slave to it. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be
yeah,
controlling how you act and the habits you have and how you behave. It should be the other way around, you know, that you're using it.
yeah, completely. And
Yeah.
one of our online coffee breaks during the week, I was saying, I read this article where this guy, he was talking about, you know, we were so in the place of doing, and now we have an opportunity to be in a place of being. You know, we don't have to be doing as much. So how are we being in ourselves? How are we being in our time? And now adding on to that from this conversation, how are we being digitally?
Yeah.
Um, so I think, does anyone, there's a couple of people on today, anyone got any questions for Carrie? It's a pity the live didn't work, but anyway, I'll be putting this out on Facebook and LinkedIn as well afterwards. I think it's a conversation really worth sharing. It's fantastic. I don't think we've any questions. Um, yeah, so I think that's, do you think that covers everything, Carrie? Anything else you want
Yeah.
to
Yeah, completely. And just, yeah, I think that being thing is really valid as well. Because I just shared a post this morning about that because that came up yesterday. Just that volume of stuff that people feel like they should be doing.
add?
You don't, you don't should be doing anything if you know what I mean.
Yes, I know.
Like just being is enough. And it is an anxious time. You might have all this free time, but there's still, you know, you can't be expected to be fine. Some days it might just hit you like an absolute ton of bricks. What's going on, and that's fine. Like that's
Yeah.
absolutely fine.
And it's funny
Um,
'cause I think I had that the first 2 weeks, and that this week now I have to say I'm much better because I am reducing. And my sister in Australia, I was talking to her this morning, and they are where we were kind of 2 to 3 weeks ago.
okay.
And so she's just, and it's funny, I said to Jen, I said, look, you're gonna need 2 weeks, you know. And it's funny, I remember, this is completely sidetracked, but when I was breastfeeding, my friend said to me, get over the first 2 weeks and you'll be fine. If you can do for 2 weeks, you'll be fine. And I did. And I did it for months and months after that. So
Yeah,
I think, you know, there is this breathing space, acclimatization to our new situation,
yeah,
you know. And I think if we can allow ourselves the space to take our new abnormal into the normal. Um, and then I think with all your tips, Carrie, around digital health and digital healthy habits, it's brilliant. I think what you've touched on today is really going to make people think about how they're using it. So if anyone wants to know more about you, it's do you want to give your website and how we can
oh
contact
yeah, just quackawellness.com, Quokka. Yeah, and
you?
quokkas are doing the rounds online at the moment. There are these little marsupials from Australia, and I suppose it's like that. I don't know what their principle is, but when you learn a new word and you see it everywhere, I've seen
Oh,
quokkas all over the place now since I named it Quokka Wellness. But
really?
they're really cute little smiley little marsupials. And they're
So
supposed to be the happiest animals in the world. That was the idea behind Quokka
oh, right,
Wellness.
okay. So
Yeah, yeah.
spell it again.
Quokka wellness.com.
Okay, perfect. So I'll put the links and everything in there. And
Thanks, Mark.
you do your resilient workshops, digital resilient workshops. So are they regular or are they?
So yesterday was the first one. I'm hoping to do them once a week for April. And like I said, it's kind of it for me as well. It's a learning curve because the more information you get from people, the more you can target it a bit better.
Yes.
The workshop part of it is pretty good though. Like it's tight, kind of 40-45 minute workshop where
Okay.
it's really structured, and it's to help people
And
to.
is that a paid workshop?
I know it's free.
Oh, it's free. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it's free. Yeah. So it's free at least for April anyway. Like I have to see how it goes. You know yourself, it's hard to make that
I
call
know.
between paid or unpaid, but at the moment I just think people need it.
Okay.
And at the end of the workshop you have your one habit that you want to work on, you have your action plan at the end, which, and I know from working with you as well, Martha, like that's like
Okay.
your mind like that where it's like, okay, get stuff done at the end, then you have your
Yeah.
bits to do.
Well done.
You
Well
know,
done. Well done.
yeah,
Yeah. And actually, so so just Mary Finn says Carrie rocket sense as usual. Brilliant.
oh, thank you.
Um, and I think for a lot of companies who are going to watch the replay of this, you know, obviously you do consultancy for companies and for their staff as well. If anyone wants to get in contact with Carrie, I think you'd be a great asset to people going through what we're going through. So definitely make sure you reach out to Carrie. So I think that's it for today, Carrie. Thank you so much. It's been
Thank you,
really
Martha.
I'm going to be thinking about my own digital habits after this now. And let me just share, lean into the pro. Sorry, I just share that post. I just was taking notes as I was going through there.
Thank you.
So this is the online business coffee break. We're live 1 p.m. every day, Monday to Friday, where we talk about basically your business, how you can expand online. And I've loads of ideas busting through my brain now for Carrie. So Carrie, you come on next week and I'll give you a few tips.
Okay.
So the purpose of this online coffee break is to help businesses just have a place to chat, to vent, and to ask questions about how they can expand their business online. And it is also sponsored by the S.O.S. Get Your Business Online program. The next time we're running is April 15th, and it is €27 for any business who wants to come in, work with us in a group for 3 days, live, immersive, and then there's 3 bonus days, so it's 6 days altogether. And basically this week we've had some really interesting, we've had people make their new digital offers, we've had people get a program funded completely online, and we've had people set up their online classes and everything, so it's been amazing. So if anyone wants to know more about that, go to marthafraser.com/SOS online.
I
So
think that's really important now as well, Martha. Like people moving online, they need all the support they can get so that they don't make the mistakes and they
yeah,
can get
and the
out.
thing is, the reason why I created that program, Carrie, was that I remember, like, when I created my first offer, I literally created it in 2 days. And now there is a ton of other things you do need to do, like if you wanted to have a sustained online business, but you can pivot really quickly. And just because I had one girl who come on to the online coffee break there 2 weeks ago, and she was a breastfeeding consultant, and she just, all she needed was a question answered about Zoom. I helped her on the live coffee break. It was like free. We're doing it free. She sent me a lovely email the next day and she said, my business is now online. I'm doing breastfeeding consultations via Zoom. And it's just amazing. So sometimes, look, people just need to ask a question, you know, and that's why we're here. We're just here to help give sanity to you guys. And it's our sanity as well.
Yeah.
Right. So the other thing, the other thing, going, you just says S.O.S has been fantastic. Thanks, Martha. I definitely recommend it to anyone thinking of going online. Brilliant. I'll just throw in the link there. So that's it for me today. And Carrie, thank you so much for giving your time. And anyone, please reach out to Carrie if you want her to do some company consultation. I think your staff could really do with, it's even just creating the space to think and to reframe and allow the thoughts to come out, you know. So I think the work you do is super important right now. And I think, gosh, it's so needed. Did you ever think it would be so needed? You
I
know?
know it's not. Yeah. The world
Yeah.
is changing all the time now. I know.
Yeah, so crazy. So thanks, Carrie, and thanks everyone for joining, watching today, and to you watching the replay, thank you for your time, and we might see you live someday, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. That's it. Thanks a million. Take care, everyone. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Yeah, just